What would you call an administration which never takes a stand, never fulfills its promises, and still claims to be the beacon of humanity to be followed by the rest of the world? The Biden administration could be termed as the perfect example of such an administration. From pulling back support for Israel to trying to restart the nuclear deal with Iran, the Biden administration has been hell-bent on not just undoing the progress made during the Trump era, but to even hurt Israel by emboldening its enemies. Biden's approach has put the national security of the Jewish nation at stake, and it seems like the US is deliberately trying to harm its Middle Eastern ally. US has brought back its troops stationed in Israel and has also sent millions of dollars to the Palestinian authorities. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Rohan Sasdeva, and in this video, I'll tell you how the loyalty of a true ally can only be tested during a time of crisis and how the Biden administration has lost this test on all counts. The Israel-Palestine conflict is escalating, given the ongoing clashes between Hamas and the Israel Defense Forces. Israel is protecting itself and targeting Hamas leadership in Gaza. But guess what the US president is up to? The White House has withdrawn its support from its ally and is openly supporting Palestine. The Biden administration notified Congress on Thursday that it will provide $10 million to Palestinian groups in Gaza and West Bank to support exchange and reconciliation projects with Israelis. Meanwhile, the US Department of Defense has also disclosed that it has pulled out 120 US military personnel from Israel amidst the growing escalations. On Friday, the US State Department has informed that the $10 million in aid provided to Palestinian groups is part of over $100 million that the Biden administration allocated to Palestine earlier this year. Biden has thus totally abandoned Israel, as against his predecessor Donald Trump, who had almost completely ended US financial support to Palestine. As per the Associated Press, a notice to lawmakers issued by the US Agency for International Development stated that the latest financial aid would support people-to-people efforts to bring together conflict-affected groups to address divisions that may be rooted in group differences, such as ethnicity, religion, status, class, or political affiliation in areas affected by conflict and civil war. By choosing to send financial aid to Palestinian groups, Biden has shown that his true loyalties lie with Palestine and not with the long-term American ally of Israel. Presently, Israel is handling the biggest escalation with Hamas since 2014, and Biden's decision to abandon the Jewish nation at this critical juncture could not have come at a worse time. The loyalty of a true ally can only be tested during a time of crisis. Israel is facing a monumental crisis, and Biden has clearly failed the test of loyalty. Israel is facing aggression from its adversaries, and therefore, Biden should have stood with the Jewish nation. But unfortunately, the US president is sending all the wrong signals by pulling back American military presence from Israel. On Friday, the Pentagon confirmed that it has pulled out 120 military personnel from Israel. US Defense Department Secretary John Kirby said these people from throughout the department were in Israel for a routine planning event. Kirby added that the withdrawal was made out of an abundance of caution and good prudence. We ended that planning conference a little early and got them safely to Germany. Joe Biden's decision to withdraw American military personnel is ill-conceived. Had the US allowed them to remain stationed in Israel till the time Hamas and the IDF engaged in clashes, then it would have sent a strong message to Palestine. In fact, the US could have used its military presence in Israel as a deterrent against Hamas. But Biden clearly had some other plans. After Joe Biden's monumental backstabbing of Israel, the Jewish nation would have now realized that the old man at the helm of affairs in the Oval Office is no friend of the Jewish people.